All right. I am now joined by ACT TV host Julianna Forlano and Kenzo Shibata, who is, of course, the host of the Kenzo Shibata Show and is also a Chicago Teachers Union activist. And I believe this is the first day of his summer break.
Yes, it's been nice. I touched a lot of grass.
Fair enough. Oh, how you guys doing?
Yeah, good. See, when your break ends, my break stops as a mom. So I get back from school now, and just hoping she doesn't make an appearance on the show.
They might happen here, so maybe we can get a play date on in the corner there.
Right. Fair enough. Well, this is this is exciting. I think I found what I was looking for here that I wanted to play as a little teaser before we here we go. So what I immediately thought of when I saw this had happened, the reasons that I wanted, invited you to come on, thought you would both enjoy doing this. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this is when all this was playing out on Monday, I couldn't watch any of it then. I had the show is on Monday, the main show, and so I was very much otherwise occupied, which is also part of the reason. Somebody on social media who will let remain nameless. When I said I was doing this, said, "Oh, Ben, this seems kind of beneath you." So 2 comments on that. One, clearly not. And 2, we look. I mean, if you go with the the Pink Floyd principle, you can't eat your meat. If you can't put in. We had look, on Monday we had Victor Brazone on. We did this deep dive on sortition versus electoral democracy. After all that, I think we get a little put in. We can have we can have some fun with this. And I'd also, of course, this has just been so funny for so long. I mean, if people, I think most people who are watching this are familiar with the backstory, but this is 2019, I believe, was when Sam Seder and Stephen Crowder were originally supposed to debate. I certainly remember, maybe the original thing was before, but I still remember it was being talked about a lot in fall 2019. So I can remember being on my way. I was talking about this on Twitter on Monday. I can remember being on my way to a Lauren Ashcraft fundraiser in New York in October 2019. I was sitting in the okay, sorry. I think we lost it for a second. So I was saying that I can remember October 2019 being I think on the way to a Lauren Ashcraft for Congress fundraiser in New York, and I was sitting in the back of an Uber with Michael Brooks, and he handed me his phone to show me this video, which is let's just get this on here, which is one of my all-time. Like, I remember just watching this and thinking this is the best thing that I'd ever seen. So this is the former White House communications director Anthony Scaramucci. And let's see, he is all right. Technology is not our friend today, but we are going to get this. Share screen. Yeah, this is very high level professional stuff here.
It's StreamYard, right? I know exactly what you're trying to do. And you have to hit the share audio button. Otherwise, yeah, I know. I've been there.
Yep. Here we go. So this is Anthony Scaramucci, the Mooch, in October 2019.
I can't even look at him.
Sunday. This is a message for Cold Feet Crowder. And it got booked by Cinco Sanders. Okay, so listen up, Stephen. Quit being a pussy and debate Sam. If you got to ask Daddy for permission, it is what it is. I know Sam ain't no teenager, but you got to man up and do the right thing. Don't be a hack and a coward, Crowder. Debate Sam. The alpha males. The alpha males are back.
That is ridiculous. Men are ridiculous.
Okay, you hear my wife? My wife just said men are ridiculous. Okay, man up. Man up and debate the guy, okay?
They need a sitcom, the Scaramucci's.
Yes.
Not a reality show, but someone needs a script, a Scaramucci sitcom. I would, but have them play themselves. I would watch that.
Yeah,
I like the reality idea. I want to see exactly what's going on in that house.
No, I'd watch that, like the Osbournes, but the Scaramucci. Yeah, totally.
Scaramucci looks like Glenn Danzig's long lost brother too, which adds another element to it, I think.
I just wish he would, as an Italian myself, I just wish he would have like Hollywooded up his name and like changed it to like Scarasum or something that, just like, could you please, like, because the ethnicity is shouted by that last name and it's an embarrassment,
What I like best about that, I mean, obviously the thing itself is very, very funny, but also the thing that's meta funny about it is, so this is not the only one of these. Jesse Lee Peterson did one of these videos.
Beta.
What's that?
Beta.
yeah, exactly. And so obviously these people, that's on Cameo, they were paid to do this, but even so, right? Like, this tells you something about how Steven Crowder has conducted himself, that all of these other right-wing figures are this willing to throw him under the bus and do these videos shaming him for backing out of the original Politicon debate with Sam Seder, allegedly because his father, who's also his manager, decided it wasn't a good idea. And the fact that they are, the fact they were all willing to do this, I think probably tells you something about Crowder. And of course, what also tells you something about Crowder is the fact that that he's been this, this unwilling to do it in the first place for a couple reasons. One of which is that I think there are a lot of people that if they had wanted to do a debate with Steven Crowder and Crowder had said, "No, I'm not going to talk to you," you could hear them and be like, okay, right? Like maybe I wish they would. It'd be entertaining. It'd be a good event. I think maybe, whoever this person is would really show up Crowder, and I would have wished that I'd seen that. But like, it's Sam Seder, right? I mean, like I've seen many, many, many Sam Seder debates, and he is. He's this like impeccably polite, very calm, like middle-aged Jewish man who's just gonna like sort of very soft-spoken, gonna just sort of like let the other person talk until he sees a flaw in their argument, and then he'll say something about it. But I mean, there's no theatrics, right? I mean, he's just gonna sit there and like have like, I mean, this is like exactly what a debate should be, is what you'd have with him. And the fact that he's clearly like terrified of doing that, to like, because at this point you'd think he'd just do it to shut people up.
Yeah.
I don't know. That guy Crowder strikes me as like a 1 foot in Hollywood type of guy, given his background and even his set. The whole thing is not like, I'm really concerned about the direction of the country. Like who wears a frickin' holster? I mean, you know what I mean? It's like theatrics, and he is clickbait, and he's making money. So if he, if he is shown to be a false prophet on his own show, he can't have that. That's gonna lose eyeballs. How is he gonna have, that razor company ad that runs, he can't have it for that reason. I mean, sure, he's probably scared because Sam Seder's intellect is incredible.
Mhm.
And as you said, a calm, reasonable offering of that intellect makes you look like a jerk if you are not on that same page, or even, you know, doing things out of goodwill, but doing things just to get the clicks. That means you're out of integrity. And Sam is a man of integrity. So I just think he couldn't have possibly done it because that's what his deal is.
And I think with Crowder, he has nothing to gain by actually debating Sam, because like you were saying, Ben, he'll do the very calm, rational thing, and all that Crowder can do is be like a living meme, like wearing drag, but like doing it to like make fun of trans people. Like that's not he's not capable of debate. But by continuing this whole bit of being a coward, his name will continue to go viral on social media, even if it's for a negative thing. So I think he'll do okay out of this. But if he actually did engage with Sam, that could have been bad.
I think he lost his whole liberal audience.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's
people.
all right. There was a request in the chat for the Jesse Lee Peterson. So here we go.
Jesse, I hear from Sam that you won't debate him, that you have cold feet, and that you are a beta male. Beta, if it's true, beta male. And by the way, Sam said he is an alpha male, not a beta male, and that you are afraid to debate him, Stephen. And that your father should stop allowing you to be beta. Debate Sam, Stephen. Don't be afraid. Don't be a beta male. Let me know how it goes.
That's what I like about Reverend Peterson is he's got a mentor about him. So, you know, he properly called Stephen, because look, we all heard the tape. Stephen's a mega beta. It's embarrassing to even mention his name.
It wasn't us who came up with cold feet.
No.
So yeah, there you go.
Michael would have loved this.
he would have. Like I said, I think. Yeah, I think anybody who knew him, I think you can imagine like how much he enjoyed that Scaramucci one, especially, right? I mean, you know, he like half of the non-political conversations that I had with Michael over the years were about The Sopranos, you know. So I mean, like that's the like Anthony Scaramucci pretty much is like a minor character from The Sopranos. You know, somebody. You know, he's like the like there were a lot of people around the Trump administration who are like this, the sort of equivalent, like, you know, I mean, you know, including people who are not Italian Americans, but like the equivalent of you know, the approximate equivalent of like those two guys in that season of The Sopranos where Christopher was at the brokerage, who were like, you know, the guys at the brokerage who were trying to get in with Tony, you know, like there were a lot of guys who were kind of on that level, you know, around the Trump administration, like people who, like a lot of the stuff that came out of the
slicksters.
Yeah, like just these people who are just the most incompetent, low level, like, you know, they sort of want to be corrupt in a more impressive way, but they can't quite figure out how to do it. Like people like the stuff like you know the stuff that like really came out like in the Mueller investigation was all stuff like people being like, oh yeah, no, my cousin totally says that he can get you to talk to Putin, you know, like, and it's like total bullshit. There's nothing there, you know. But
he's like all the people that Trump hung out with before he was a president, like, you know, when you're in your early 20s, the friends that you don't quite shake off right away, but they're still hanging out on your couch and you're trying to, like, you know, go on serious dates. And, you know, that was like the Scaramucci and, you know, a few other of the early defectors.
Trump always just needed, you know, he just needed people to like puff up that ego. So yes men are the perfect, you know, Trump sycophants, you know, and then he's turned like, I don't know how many, I don't want to say half because it scares me that it might be half the nation into like Trump sycophants. Whatever he does is right, you know, and he's like, yeah. So
yeah, right. No, and I think everybody's like probably like, unless I mean not everybody, because sometimes maybe for regional and, sociological reasons. Like, you might genuinely, I guess, not know any of these people, but everybody I know knows somebody who's like like everybody's got like an uncle or something, who has, who's
Check
like
your car dealership. That's where they all get jobs.
I worked at a car dealership in college, and I wasn't a salesperson, but I know exactly what you mean. Like people that were like almost too slimy for whatever other kind of businesses they started in their careers in, like they would find themselves selling cars and then make way more than the CEOs of whatever company they left.
Yeah. We just got a car, and I was like, do we have to do this? Can I just it was like a whole thing. It was like a show, I literally, not that this is important in any way, but I literally was like, I'm not paying that much. And I walked out of the dealership and I told my husband to be like, can you help me? My wife, she's driving me nuts and I really want to buy this. And if you drop it by this much, and I played bitchy wife and I went and sat in the other car and, it worked. I'm like, okay, we got to do this now. Because I am Italian and I know how to play this game.
Yeah, fair enough. So
you can leave your anti-Italian defamation comments on my page. Don't bother Ben. Everyone who's watching. That's
yeah. So I guess the other thing to say about this before I start watching it is that, I mean, obviously, if any, nobody should have to talk to anybody they don't want to talk to. But also, one, this actually would have been like, if it happened, right? Like I've seen like Sam Seder, and whatever. I mean, I've got, I don't always agree with the guy about everything, etc. But it's like one thing I think you absolutely have to say is that like it could be like a 19-year-old libertarian who lives in his mom's basement calling him at the majority report, and and he'll be polite to the guy, he'll keep it substantive, they'll talk about the content of whatever they're supposed to be debating. In the classic examples, this, of course, Michael would be in the background laughing, but Sam, would be unfailingly civil about it, right? So it would have been a good, like as good as substantive a debate as Stephen Crowder's ever had, certainly, which is as you point out, Julianna, kind of why he didn't want to do it, but also like the sort of doing some sort of prank to kind of ambush somebody. This is exactly the kind of thing Crowder would do. Right? It's the kind of thing he has done. Right? Like so it's not quite like, oh, just some random conservative, who's been randomly chosen to be browbeaten into having this discussion. This is somebody who this is exactly what he'd do. There's the classic thing with the TYT panel he crashed, and we're going to see him in this thing make all sorts of excuses about audience sizes and everything, as if he weren't more than happy to debate like random college students, who 5 people follow on Twitter. He's all about that, right? But the majority report with its 1 million YouTube subscribers, is beneath his notice. But like, Bob at Oklahoma State University, yeah, he'll totally argue with him because he thinks, usually correctly, that that he'll be able to embarrass the kid.
It's just so, it's like I have not been invited. There's been no cockfighting in female in like the ladies, because there are very few lady libertarians. I think that one got killed on the January 6th. It's mostly like young white guys, and this is like young, kind of overtly egotistical, narcissistic, and I don't want to make it a gender thing, but masculine kind of behavior that is just ridiculous. Sure. Like, what is the point of all this? Did that solve anything? You know what I mean? I feel like it didn't the people who watch Crowder are not smart enough to see through what happened there.
Yeah.
They're just going to believe what he said. Oh, Sam Seder's, you'll see as we watch it.
Or am I? Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I do think that there are people. I mean, I guess the one thing that I would say in all seriousness is that oftentimes, I think especially in the left, we make the mistake of thinking that like everybody has sort of picked their position and will sort of stick to it and is in their well-defined slot, that they're going to be in, that this and so anybody who's watching, Steven Crowder is like the most diehard, Crowder fan. But of course, any given person, right, who might be watching this might be in any kind of phase of whatever weird trajectory they particularly are going on, right? I mean, people change all the time. People might watch it because they think it's kind of entertaining, but they're not even sure what they think about it. People might believe some of the things that Crowder's saying, and then like they see the right person say the right thing at the right time, and they start to think, wait a second, maybe this doesn't really make sense, So I think there is.
I was talking to his diehard fans who really like what he does, not just people who kind of. Yes, but I agree, and that's very kind of generous-hearted of you, Ben, to be like, hey, just some of these are very fine people. There's some very fine people watching this.
Look, obviously, I know that the Crowder fans are not sending us their best, but I'm sure some of the people, whatever the line was, yeah. No, but I mean, like some of them, some of them are,
sure.
Which, and are salvageable, right? Some of these people, are going through an unfortunate phase, but will turn out okay, and we'll have good politics, later in their lives. But enough background. This is Ethan Klein getting ready for his couple minutes of debate with Steven Crowder before Sam comes on.
Intelligent. Sophie, right? Let's be honest. So with all that being said, we figured let's get someone who is familiar with the topics, who does spend their time thinking about politics, and who is, unlike me, smart. So we've got a little surprise for Steven Crowder. So let's all enjoy the debate.
I'm really glad to have my next guest on the show. And I've always said this, I always respect people who enter into the arena. And, we've had a lot of debates on this show, which is different from like a Change My Mind where we sit down and have conversations. But my old Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach always said, if you come a switch, we go switch. You go spicy, we're going to do a little spicy. So we're always trying to keep it as respectful as possible. And I really do appreciate the guy making the time, because a lot of people has a huge YouTube channel, several YouTube channels, one of the OGs. A lot of people watch him. You know him. Some of you like him. Some of you don't. Same can be said for me. Ethan Klein from H3H3. Ethan, thanks, man, for making the time.
You're very welcome. And I just want to say, I know you called me. You said that I would be a layup.
I think I used something like that.
And I think you're right, because I don't think I'm a very good debater. I think you know that. So I didn't want to make it too easy for you.
Oh, okay.
So I've prepared.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
Dan,
what we were going to talk about is the initial quote that happened. I think he's looking off there. The initial quote that kind of was turned into a little bit of a meme, which wasn't intentional, and was you saying you don't even have to think about it regarding the CDC. And I disagree with that. I think people should think about it. I believe, and we talked about this through playful ribbing, in an aggregation of medical authorities and scientific voices to make an informed and rational decision. So where do you think that I'm wrong on that?
Stephen, do you know that the Spartans are like practice man love with children?
Oh, geez. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. What did I tell you? He was going to do anything he could to avoid. Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Seder. What a fucking nightmare. I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are. Yeah, I told Dave, remember I told you? I said, I guarantee you he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
Well, I just think he believes that he should debate you.
No, he doesn't. He just takes advantage of women with, mental health issues.
Steven,
Ethan Klein doesn't stand up and do his own
I gotta
fighting.
say,
It's just hilarious. Let's bring on FM.
You would do anything to avoid talking to me. I think the point that you made
Yes,
at the beginning of
Joe
this
Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson and Noam Chomsky and Sam Harris. Everyone's been avoiding.
And not just attempting to get your audience by jumping in.
Well, I debated with Charlie Kirk. Stephen, I mean, it's about issues. Let's talk about those issues.
That's what you're doing here.
Valid points.
You're so clever. I had no idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts eyes.
I wish every.
You take those off with a velveteen buttons.
There is a revealing thing just now, by the way. It said take your show off early, which concedes that. I mean, look, we're just going to embrace the WWE aspect of this for a minute. Just enjoying that as a spectacle. Look, we do very substantive things on this channel all the time, and have a little whiskey, watch the, watch the clownery and enjoy it. But he just said.
I mean, this is high level clownery. This is like you're not like watching, the Kardashians. This is the kind of clownery that people who like this channel and like this show can relax to because it's still important. Sorry, go ahead.
No, totally. But just to embrace the WWE aspect here, he just said something super interesting. You took your show off early, which concedes that Steven Crowder is hyper aware of when the Majority Report is supposed to be airing, and so he thought like, oh, okay, I'm not going to worry that this is going to happen because I know that Sam's still supposed to be on the air right now. So you kind of can't have it both ways, right? You can't say I'm so above it all, like this, you're absolutely beneath my notice. And also, I know right off the top of my head when your show's supposed to be on, and I know that like you're not supposed to be able to come on right now, because it's still supposed to be airing.
All that Crowder has to do is learn to keep his mouth shut, and he could have come out of this okay. It was the freak out. It was he looked like he was I don't want to say on substances, but like he was in that whole like where do I go from here and like panic mode. And I mean that's why we're watching it. It's highly entertaining. This is an asshole we've seen defame trans people, talk horribly about women. Like there's nothing good about this guy. We got to catch him in this moment where he's embarrassed and frantic, and I'm gonna laugh at it and I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. I like this from Jay Hush Talks Too Much. He says, I think he was just saying names. Jordan Peterson, Noam Chomsky, George Wendt, the Spencer's brother, Papa Daddy Doherty, Edmund Burke. You can't interview any of them.
That's so funny.
It is particularly good that he threw in Noam Chomsky, who, like, if we're just going to be pedantic about this, Sam Seder actually has interviewed Noam Chomsky.
I am literally interviewing Noam Chomsky tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so it's not, I mean, he's got to fuck out. It's not.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, I mean, like to like throw him in that list makes it sound like like Noam Chomsky is like Noam Chomsky actually would not understand what any of this.
Oh yeah,
was. Which is
for him too.
yeah, good for him, right? But like,
what was the point of him doing that though? What was the point of him throwing Noam Chomsky in there to be like, you're not even lefty, like even the left thinks you're just good.
Yeah, I think the idea of throwing in Chomsky was probably that he was like trying to paint this picture of Sam as like sort of chasing conversations or debates with people who are all too big deals to to talk to him, and like some of those names sort of made sense because like I'm sure that like like okay, they've gone after Sam Harris on the show. I'm sure that they that Sam would love it if Sam Harris is willing to debate him, but it's like Noam Chomsky, like that's so like
First
I
of all,
understand.
he doesn't debate. He's 90 something years old. He just will tell you what he thinks. There's no debate. there. You just
you ask him questions, and then like in a very slow way, because he's still obviously incredibly intelligent, but he is 99,000 years old. You know, he's he's just going to like, in the sort of oracular way, right? He's going to tell you, what he thinks about stuff. That's it, right? Like,
sometimes he's not, he's not uncomfortable in his thoughts and opinions. He's just like, this is what happened in Nicaragua, blah, blah, blah. There's no debate. It's like, here's the facts. You can, I don't know. There's this idea of debate just drives me nuts, because it's like, let's take out our penises and swing them around. It's like, what? I don't know. A regular, real debate with reasoned things, which I think Sam would be doing, is great. But it's very hard to find people on, the libertarian side who can actually do that.
No, for sure. Which is kind of, I think, why they've stopped calling him. But but right. No, exactly. Like, I mean, and again, the thing is that, the thing that makes all this so funny, I think part of the reason that people enjoy Crowder, ducking Sam so much, is precisely because, Sam, is not like when he's actually doing a debate. I mean, he actually does the, again, it's what a debate should be. It's not, it's really not performative dick swinging. It's really like, okay, I listened to what you just said, but wait a second, I think there are two things that don't quite fit together here. Can you clarify, what you think? Because I don't, I think your argument doesn't make sense. I mean, like, that's what it would actually be. And
you take like a 15-second clip of a Sam debate and put it on Twitter and make a meme out of it, because he's, he'll actually like take the time to walk through the arguments and talk through them. Whereas Crowder, every time he talks, it has to become a meme. Like, that's the only way he knows to bring attention to himself. So yeah, it would have been really weird if they actually did engage.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, so I think that's, but yeah, I mean, Noam Chomsky, I think if you tried to be like, okay, so, are you willing, would you be willing to debate Sam Cedar? Like, remind me who Sam Cedar is. I know I've talked to a million people, and what would we be debating, and why are you asking me this question? And I think I have another interview to go to, but Stephen is bringing up Noam Chomsky to try to add some political balance to his list, right? He's like, oh, who can I think of that is a big deal, who surely wouldn't, be willing to talk to you, so I can take refuge in numbers, right? I could say, no, see, none of us big deal people are willing to talk to you. And who would be a left-wing name that I can throw in there? And in his panic, what popped into his head is Noam Chomsky, who, again, unlike Stephen Crowder, like, actually would be like above all of this and would be like vaguely disgusted if you tried to explain anything that's going on.
This is what I'm going to talk to him about tomorrow. Hey, listen, did you know that your name? How do you feel about that?
One of the most bizarre things about this is just so many different, I tweeted about this, like different parts of the internet had to coalesce to make this moment happen. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was looking at a tweet from this guy named Def Noodles, who does drama alert YouTube. He literally just talks about how YouTubers fight with each other. And he was watching a clip of a Hassan Piker stream of him watching Ethan Klein breaking down the whole situation. And like, Ethan Klein is a huge YouTuber, like I would say like normie YouTube, like people who just are into YouTube, aren't leftist or anything or political at all, like him. They all know Crowder from the memes. And now like Noam Chomsky is getting thrown in the mix. And that was so surreal for me. I'm like, I can't process the video within this tweet. There's too many layers of internet on it. And I need to sit down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All right, let's watch.
We must have been
Black
very
eyes,
worried about
aren't
this,
they? Like-
Stephen. I don't know why.
No
It would
one's
be-
worried
Oh, come
about
on,
it.
so
Say, I
concerned.
didn't want to
Well,
do
let's have the
Sam,
debate.
come
If
on.
no
Just
one's
I'll tell you
worried,
what. I
let's
have a
do this.
general. I have a general.
This is a
rule.
great
I
opportunity.
don't start a debate based with people on a lie. And how
Or
about you get to a,
sabotaging?
how about you get
Stephen,
to
show
a 30th
yourself,
of the
you
audience
coward.
share?
Stephen, show yourself.
30th
Don't show
of the
your
audience.
co-host.
Ethan, you should show
Stephen,
yourself.
Ethan, how can you respect yourself as a man, brother?
Stephen,
so
Stephen,
you are such a coward. Stop showing your little leprechaun co-host who comes out dressed like your
Ethan, come on,
sidekick.
Ethan, why do you have to bring on a
Show
guy who has
Stephen.
a 30th of the viewership?
Why are you
on
the
that?
saddest thing I've ever heard? So you have a
Just
guy
show
with
Stephen.
less viewers to come on to debate him because you can't?
Well, obviously, if I'm a
Apparently, he
if,
had to think
obviously
about
I'm a
it,
if I'm a layup
Yeah,
and
you
not
had
a
to think
debater.
about it.
Well, look,
Yeah,
you're the
I
one
mean,
who called. You're the one who got
You're the one that got angry about
Show
it.
Stephen. Don't be
Hold on
such a
second. All right,
coward.
hold on. So let me hear what Pig Pen has to say here really quick.
Fair enough.
Show
But
Stephen.
Ethan, look, I don't. Hold on a second, Ethan. This is because initially
Thank
I came
you.
on here to talk with Ethan. Ethan, come on, man. Look, the same reason that I haven't ever had a conversation with Sam Seder is the same reason that Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, Brett Weinstein, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro don't own anything. It's based on a lie, Ethan. Just
What's
like
the
you
lie?
claiming my Ethan.
What's the
You
lie?
claiming my
What's the
booker
lie,
reached
Stephen?
out to you, Ethan, when you know
Stephen,
that's
what's the
not
lie?
true. There's no
What's
one
the
ducking
lie?
you,
Why
Sam.
are you
I've
so
never
afraid.
Sam,
Yeah, listen, I think you're a smart
I can
guy.
call out
I
Mike
don't
Tyson.
understand why
It doesn't mean that I'm
you are
ducking him.
so worried about this.
Why do you
I
feel that?
honestly
Why do you
don't.
feel that anyone, Sam? Why do you feel that anyone owes you airtime when you have a 40th of the audience and you've been doing the
I
show?
don't think anybody
for 10
owes me
times as long?
airtime. I think that Ethan has just given it to me. I didn't
Right.
ask him for it, and
Right.
so
No, you've been begging
the
for
real
it for a long
question
time
is,
with everyone
Stephen,
bigger than
why
yourself.
Are you so
he found
worried
You
about
can't build an
engaging with me?
audience, and so what
Why
happens is
are
he
you
uploads
so
15
worried about-
times more,
Do you think
has
your
less than a
audience
50th of the
says-
audience.
Well, that's
Do
why
you
he
think
wants to
that
debate
your
you, is so he
audience-
can build his.
Do you
Sam,
think
come on.
your audience
Yeah,
cares
yeah.
that I only have 1 million subscribers and you have what, 6 or 7 million
I think.
subscribers?
Let me answer. Can I
I don't
answer your
think
question?
they
Can I
do.
answer your question? Can I answer your question? Do
Sure.
you want me to answer your question? My audience would say Sam who? Just like Joe Rogan's audience and Ben
Well, now
Shapiro's
they
and
all
Dave
know
Rubin.
who I am.
Now they
You
all know
just
who you
introduced
are
me.
because you had to
Your
shoehorn
audience
yourself into
watches
another coward
yourself
show.
into
College
another
students
show.
every day that you do that.
Why are
change
we-
my
Hold on a
mind.
second. Hold on
They
a second.
don't know who those college
This is another
students
lie.
are.
This is another lie.
What possible
Let
difference
me
would it be?
clarify, Sam. Let me clarify, Sam. To change my mind, everyone knows on the show, right?
Yes.
We've had
How did
professors
you know
on the.
I ended
This is
my
what-
show
okay, he's not
early
gonna talk.
last week, Stephen? If your audience doesn't
Because
even
you're
know
an
me,
idiot,
how
and
did you
half
know
of your
that?
staff
Do
doesn't
you watch
like
my
you.
show?
Because I'm a diehard fan.
Yes, it's because he's a diehard
Well,
fan.
if you're a
I've heard
diehard
of you,
fan,
but I just
why-
met you.
why not
Congratulations,
have me
Sam Seder's
and
fan.
Stephen
I'm just
have
a
a
huge
conversation?
fan.
I will
like-
Well,
talk
right now,
about
every
the
time I
issues
try and
that you
talk, you're
want to talk
interrupting,
about,
Sam.
Stephen.
Yeah, and
Right now, I'm trying to talk with you. You're interrupting,
You
Sam.
bombarded the show.
Okay,
You
go ahead.
bombarded my show under a false pretense. You claimed
Bombarded?
just like you claimed that I ducked the debate with you under a false pretense. Have I ever?
That is what the Politicon people told me.
Oh,
I
is
played
that what they
the
told you?
audio
Well,
of
so
it.
you're just lazy
Yeah.
with your research?
And if
No,
big tech
what
is
You
research
continue
do
with the
I
lie.
need? They
You need
said
to
were
research to say,
booked.
did Stephen ever accept?
They said you were
Let me
booked.
explain to you. Let me explain
They
to you.
said
Let me
you were
explain.
booked,
Hey,
and that you
whoa,
dropped
Sam,
out and you literally
Sam,
cold
sweetheart.
feet.
Sam, fake stand-up comic who we can't find any footage about online. Let
I'm
me
not
finish.
a stand-up comic.
Oh, you're not? Okay, that makes sense because everything that I've seen is incredibly unfunny and unentertaining,
Well,
which may
I'm
explain
not
the
a
audience.
stand-up
Ironic,
comic.
irony alert, Stephen.
How
Comedian,
much have you watched of my stuff,
The
Stephen, that
irony
you
of-
think
Sam,
that your
can I
audience
answer your
wouldn't
question?
appreciate
Sam,
our discussing things?
Samuel, can I answer your question?
Yes.
So you have gone on, you've done the same thing with other comments. Everyone has a bigger audience than you because you said, I want to speak with Steven Crowder. You believe that at some point there was some acceptance? When have I ever done a Politicon? Ever? When have as a matter of fact, in the last decade, in the last decade, I haven't done a single political conference.
How
I
can
hosted
you say-
CPAC for 4 years and stopped because they suck.
How
They
can you
don't
say-
pay
Okay.
and they're full of losers.
What about
And you've
Gavin
been
McInnes's
clamoring
show?
for it, and it's a
Gavin told me
lie.
that you dropped out of doing
How
his
can you
show
say
because
that
This
you-
is
I
just
was going
hearsay
to
and
go-
gossip.
But how can
I
you
have
say
I've never
you
met
follow
more of a
your
woman.
career when he wants
Well,
to
I
keep
don't need to-
debating?
I don't need to talk
It's
about any
bizarre.
of this.
Ben, all right,
Let's talk
okay.
about the issue.
So,
the
Ethan, do you want to have a
CDC.
conversation, Ethan?
Let's talk
about the
about big
vaccine
tech.
because
Ethan, do you want to have a
Absolutely, I
conversation?
do.
You're going to hide.
You felt
Absolutely,
so
I do.
strongly
Or
about.
big tech.
So why are you hiding behind behind San Cedar.
Oh no,
Have a
me and Sam are
conversation
aligned. I'm not
with
hiding.
him.
He just
Well, you're just a
he knows the
liar.
issue.
So you're a liar.
Because
remember we said,
Somebody
hold on a
else
second.
to
Hold on a second.
debate.
I mean, it
Yeah,
sort of
yeah, yeah.
feels like
It's
you guys are the ones
ridiculous.
who are hiding
Really?
Ethan is
No,
being
no. This is
completely
actually
open about it.
Who snuck in on you?
who's the guy who
Ethan's
never
being
appears
completely
on
open
stage,
about it.
never does a live show,
But it's a
never
comic.
even sheds, never even allows a shadow of comedy to be perceived on his program. It's just hiding.
Right.
Everything we do is out in the open.
All right, just to review, anybody who's ever watched the Majority Report knows that he never allowed a moment of comedy in that show.
Well, they don't understand comedy. I mean, it's been proven. Like,
Yeah, I mean I think yes, obviously Sam's role in the show was always to be the straight man, but I mean like Michael Brooks was on the Majority Report for
I am
years
pretty
and-
sure that he did do comedy.
Yeah,
Or,
he
and, he used to date Sarah Silverman. There, he was kind of in that world for a while, which there's a lot of people who did comedy and then went into political comedy and then went into politics or, political media of some sort. So it's not highly unusual. I'm not exactly sure, but.
Yeah, YouTube
no,
exists when
he did-
Sam did stand up. So like it's not going to be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Right.
That.
Yeah.
That's why
exactly.
I know Larry David talks about how happy he is about that fact because he supposedly was very bad at stand up.
He would just get up and be like, no, he'd look at the audience and be like, no, not you people. And then he'd leave. Leave. Like, I love that guy. Yeah, the guy did say, Crowder did say something that was true. The one thing that he said that was true in there is that CPAC is full of losers.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, no, fair enough.
even a broken clock is right twice a day or something.
Fair enough.
H3.
I've never
H3,
Steven, you're wearing a
Yeah, we
holster.
agreed. So what? Hold on a second. Yeah? So? I want to normalize responsible gun ownership. Is that your debate? No wonder you had to bring in a hack for you.
wanna
Well,
call
no,
it
you're talking
crying
about
out loud.
comedy.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
you had,
strategy.
that's
Write
not
it very
very
funny.
You have a holster, bro.
Also, your
You have a
sponsor
holster.
Spartans.
And he takes advantage of mentally ill women for a
main
show with
sponsor is
just
about
women.
gay boy
All right,
love.
okay.
All of it.
All right, Sam. You got it. You got it. I hope you have
No,
a
come on.
I hope you have a
Steven,
wonderful
if-
highlight reel.
Hold on. Let me just make
Steven.
one point.
Hope you enjoy Politicon.
Hold on,
Ethan
let
will
me make
release the
one
private
point, Steven.
messages.
Take it easy.
Steven,
All right,
don't
thanks,
bail.
guys. I appreciate it.
Don't bail, you coward.
Hey, Sam, one thing before I go.
If it's
Can you
about
take off your
issues,
glasses?
Steven,
Hold
One
on.
thing before I go.
I
Can you
just
take
want
off
to
your
see.
glasses?
We just want to see. If
I just want to see if you take them off. If you have the Velveteen Rabbit buttons. That's the
Oh,
only thing I'm
just
curious
wanna see.
about. It's the only interesting part about it.
Steven,
or if there's a soul.
Let's
Just
debate.
take off the glasses.
Let's debate,
Don't
Steven.
hide behind the
Don't
glasses.
be a
Don't
coward.
say let's debate, Ethan. You've
I
lost
will-
Coward.
All right.
Debate
This
the
is
issues.
sad.
What
This
does
is
it matter who
sad.
you
Steven, shut
debate,
up.
coward?
All right, good. You guys are good.
Wow.
Thank you.
Coward.
Won't even take off the
I
glasses.
was right.
All right, yeah,
We
you
knew
can.
you
You
would
can
run
react.
away.
This
You
is-
run away twice. Cold feet again.
Come on, Steven.
Wow. Wow. Dude, I can't believe he admit to following.
He admitted that he followed the show last week.
We got him.
Admitted that he watched the show last
We
week.
got
He went
him.
early.
Dude, we played him so hard because he literally was following. He saw that you went live, dude. We fucking got him.
Oh my God, we fucking nailed him.
Holy shit. So do you want to respond to here? You want to throw him up, Dan? Do you want to respond to anything he said now that he's not talking over you?
Well, I mean, look, he's obviously lying about the idea that he wouldn't want to do a debate with me because his audience wouldn't know. Here's a guy who literally tracked my show last week because he was afraid that this would happen. Here's a guy who claims to have watched. I don't know. I don't know what it is he said he watched, but he's not worried about audience not knowing who he's debating because he sits down with random college kids and sandbags them on their campus. I have the recording from Politicon when they called and he backed out. I have emails from Gavin McGinnis, whose show I would have never gone on, except he offered up a debate with Crowder and Crowder left. And so, I think Steven is afraid of debating somebody. Look, I do a political show every day. It's dry,
I don't.
it's boring,
It's obvious.
and you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's
so if he
afraid.
wants to debate the issues, what's the difference between me and anybody in the world?
I mean, only that he is convinced that for whatever reason, he's nervous about debating me. I don't know why. I don't know why that's the case.
But-
I debated Charlie Kirk at Politicon. It was fine. I thought Kirk did a fairly good job. I think Steven's not a total idiot, but I also do think he's a bit of a liar.
I mean, yeah, we even went through the effort of tracking down this claim that he never booked us for the show. I mean, here's the email, super professional. So I was like, I reached out to the girl. She said, I said, did you send me this email? She said, yes, I did. Years ago, for a few months, I worked for Steven Crowder booking. I'm not quite sure who you'd contact now. I know his dad does the booking for him. Let me know if you need me to try to find you. How would she know that if she didn't work for them?
You know, what's funny is that when the Politicon, when the woman from Politicon called me, she also mentioned that his dad, she said his team, I think Steven got cold feet. His team pulled him out. And I said, wait, he's got a team? And he said, well, his dad.
Right.
And,
right.
you know, I mean, I called my dad to see if he could call Steven's dad, to see if Steven would debate me like on some type of play date. But my father reminded me that I was a grown man and I should probably handle it myself.
Oh, you know, that's funny. My dad is actually Zooming with his dad later today to debate this very topics. You know what else he lied about? Filing this lawsuit. There's no lawsuit he ever filed, at least that I can find in the public record, which lawsuits are public record. So he is a liar as far, you know, the evidence does suggest.
Yeah, and the thing is that, you know, they go on and on about getting demonetized from YouTube or whatever it is, and they never, for them, it's really just a way of generating clicks. There are
the same with
policies.
the lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, there are policies that you could pursue, but he can't ever address those because his ideology is such that there's no way for him to address it as a policy matter. So, because as a policy matter,
All right. So, sorry, Juliana, what are you going to say?
No, I'm sorry. No, it was hard to just go, the whole chunk was, I was like, there's just too much. I mean, like, okay. I don't like, we've gone on to watch Sam's rebuttal, which I think is wonderful. He points out everything that needs to be pointed out perfectly. But this guy, this Crowder guy, back to that whole, like, just that a vicious attack. The guy is showing, okay, I'm a trained social worker. I used to work in clinical social work before I got into everything else, and now here I am. But, you know, I worked with a lot of families of alcoholics, right? And alcoholism usually has some form of narcissistic personality disorder that goes along with it. And we always talk about how capitalism creates the conditions where narcissistic tendencies are nurtured, developed, encouraged. And it was so on display right there. You've got Sam, who just wants to debate the issues and make the world better. He's not necessarily in it for gaining audience share. He's not going to gain Crowder audience. Maybe there'll be a few trickle overs, you know, those people we were talking about.
But I mean, like, the idea that it's going to make some huge difference in Sam's audience, that like whether he debates Steven Crowder, it's like, no, obviously not.
No. And so this, you know, here I have this list that I keep in front of me sometimes when I'm like, is this capitalism at work here? These are the things that are fostered in capitalism, right? No mutuality. These things are not possible for a person who is narcissistic. No mutuality. So not like, I'll go on your show, you go on my show, and we'll, you know, everybody, all the shows rise as we introduce each other's good ideas and loving hearts to each other's audiences. No respect. We saw that. No patience. And that was, we were seeing from Crowder being like, blah, blah, blah. He didn't let Sam even have 1 second, barely, to say anything. No genuineness. We nailed that earlier. No trust. You can't have honesty with these people, and no compassion at all. And I have to say, from a woman's point of view, that take your glasses off thing was a little bit more like, hey, smile, honey, when you're walking down the street and someone wants you to do something physical to make them happy. It was super creepy. I felt weirded out.
Yeah, and it was also like, okay, I don't necessarily like to go here most of the time, but like something about the glasses and the soullessness and all that. It's like, is this anti-Semitism? Because this kind of feels like anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up, but I'm not very good at picking that up, and that is.
I bet you Crowder's people picked that up and they loved it, ate it up.
Oh.
But he knows he can't say shit like that overtly.
He's like, move your hair over to see if there's horns too. He didn't go that far, but geez, I didn't think about that. That's rough. I was just like, what's wrong with the Velveteen Rabbit? I like that poor bunny got thrown out.
Was Velveteen Rabbit Jewish? I don't remember.
He was burned up on the lawn. That's a terrible. I mean, I don't know what the point was of
human religion, but but I think the idea is just like, I don't know, like Velveteen Rabbit thing seemed to be some weird way of saying he's like beady-eyed and inhuman. Although it's also weird, as you point out, because it's like, I don't know, shouldn't that be adorable? I mean, what's the like? That doesn't.
It's so Trumpian to be like, you don't have a soul. It's like when Trump says, like, your face is orange. It's just total projection of their own. Yeah,
and I think what you're saying, and obviously, I mean, I don't, and I know you're. Somebody was saying this in the chat, right? So it's like, I know you're not saying that like addiction and and narcissistic personality disorder always go together, but I mean,
no, they don't.
Yeah,
no, but sometimes they do.
Yeah, and it's certainly like what you're saying about about compassion. I mean, like,
this is what happens with addiction. I'm sorry, like when you are addicted to a substance, your brain starts to become addicted to that substance and obsessed about getting it. Where am I going to get it? How am I going to hide it? Et cetera, et cetera. And that can be considered sort of a part of a narcissism in that moment. It doesn't mean you have a disorder. It just means as your addiction flares up, this kind of tendency to not really be able to be honest and trustworthy. You don't have a lot of patience because you need to know where you're going to get that next whatever. And so you can act that way. It doesn't necessarily mean you have personality disorder, but when you're in full-fledged addiction, it can mirror that. So I hope that's
that's good.
I'm sure he was getting a few serotonin boosts thinking about all the tweets and the faves he was getting from that interaction. So there might be a little addiction at play.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, but I think what you're saying about compassion, I mean, kind of circling back to the point about comedy, because it's such a weird thing to say, right? That there's no hint of comedy on the Majority Report. I mean, the original co-host of the Majority Report was Janine Garofalo. Then eventually it was Michael Brooks, who's like by far the funniest person I ever knew in left media, like just, and I think in whatever your politics, I think you can just like Nation of Islam Obama bid and all that stuff. I mean, that was just good. And then like the little intro thing, like Casual Friday thing is recorded by H. John Benjamin. It's Sam, yes, does have a background in comedy. He's to this day, right? He does voices for Bob's Burgers, that's like the whole thing is saturated in comedy. So what does Crowder mean by that? And I think what he means is that it doesn't involve anything that he recognizes as comedy, which is just kind of this like certain kind of like over the top bullying mockery, like like what he does to trans people.
Yeah, you said it. That's exactly what. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head there.
It's funny too, because Sam didn't have to say anything to set him off. Like Sam's expression was priceless, because you just see him on screen. Crowder flips out, and then Sam just kind of like got that smirk on his face, and his velveteen eyes kind of flashing everywhere. And That part was kind of a beautiful meme.
Can we make a meme of like Sam's face with the Velveteen Rabbit's ears and eyes? And Sam just let him hang himself, because to Sam's audience, that was self-explanatory what was going on. You know, he just let him hang himself. And he didn't defend himself like, hey, I worked with Janine Garofalo and I'm on Bob's Burgers, blah, blah, blah. He just was like, this is a show. He didn't defend himself. I thought that was great.
No, it's like, I don't know. This is a show. We talk about politics. You want to do that? Like, you know, I mean, that was the whole.
Because when people are trying so hard to be funny, telling them that they're not funny is like the deepest cut you can give a beginning comedian who doesn't know yet that they have the chops or the skill. That's like the deepest cut, you know. But Sam doesn't have that wound,
right?
So
yeah,
like,
no, I don't think he's really that bothered by it. Like, I think that like the thing, like, I mean, which is funny because I mean, anybody who's watched the, you know, I mean, look, I don't know the guy. I only know him, you know, through, you know, I've watched his thing. I've been on the Majority Report, but I mean, I certainly don't know him outside of that context, you know. But just based on observation, you know, I think that like Sam will get like really mad when like the equipment isn't working or something in the studio, like that will piss him off, you know. But like some like weird reactionary clown who's like trying to get a rise out of him, like I don't think that's discipline. I think it just like doesn't faze him, because why would it, you know? Like it's just noise. But I also think, like, I don't know, this is just, I have to think that what we just saw, I mean, maybe this is naive, but I have to think that what we just saw is a bad look, even for Crowder's audience. Because like it just seems like it would be so easy, or I don't know, if Crowder were more confident, it would be so easy to just do like why not just debate Sam for like 10 minutes, you know, like start it off, make something that you think is a good point, or that, like, you know, at least you think your audience might think is a good point, and then be like, okay, all right, come on, Ethan, I've dispatched your surrogate, right? You know, now I'll do you. That would have looked good. That would have like just on the sort of like, again, just to sort of embrace the WWE aspect here, just on the like monkeys flinging shit at each other level, that would have at least projected confidence. I mean, this is the opposite of that. So, all right. So before you guys go, I did want to say, since this is a you know, this is something that I wanted to do for a few reasons. Again, the ballad of Sam and Stephen has been amusing me for literally years at this point, and this whole interaction is so funny that, you know, that I wanted to talk about it on stream, and you know, like I said, you know, this is you know, we've done lots of you know, we eat lots of fruits and vegetables on this channel. This is dessert, you know. I want to do that, but also if you two are game, I do want to just talk for a minute about possibly even more important things in the world besides Steven Crowder being just magnificently strange jackass. So with the guns, I think is particularly like
he was wearing a shirt that said "Fight Like Hell" too the whole time, with two guns on him while he was shaking.
I thought, like, I probably would never debate the guy, because I don't like debates. I just like talking, and if we're gonna talk, that's different than like getting a beat down by some bro. I had enough of those in other areas. But I was like, okay, if I ever do, he's going to wear the gun holster. And I'm like, what is the opposite of the gun holster? And I'm going to wear a breastfeeding bra, like with a baby doll attached, or maybe a kid if someone will lend me. Mine's too old for this now. You know what I mean? Like the complete like feminine opposite of like, I'm tough, you know, like there another way is possible. We don't have to do that, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Please get me on the show. I will do it. I'm just kidding. I mean, I would
You
do
would
it
be
just for
so
the fun.
uncomfortable though, like having to watch someone breastfeed. I want to see that reaction too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think in the extremely unlikely event that I was ever in a position to debate Steven Crowder, I don't know. That might be like, let's see, last summer, or last spring. It was like, because I think it was like right after the pandemic started. I did this like really brief, really strange debate with Gavin McInnes. We were arguing about the pandemic, and the line of whatever I was doing is I said, well, so I've heard you say you're a libertarian, which by the way I think Gavin McInnes is a libertarian the way that like General Franco is a libertarian. He's not a libertarian, he's something else, but like I've heard you say you're a libertarian, so I'm really curious, like, do you think there would be an approach to the pandemic, that would like we just like let the free market do whatever it wants? Is there like a free market solution, to this, to stop like massive numbers of people dying from COVID? And he insisted that it would be fine. You could just have a totally free market approach, no lockdowns, no pain for anybody's medical care, and it would be fine. It would be just as good, and like. And we sort of went back and forth on it for a little while, and he was kind of seemed like he wanted to have it both ways, because he wanted to both say that everybody would just lock down voluntarily out of self-interest. This was very early in the pandemic, he was saying this, and at the same time he wanted to like talk about like do this weird like I don't know if it was even dog whistling, but this weird stuff about like black people on the south side of Chicago not following the lockdown rules. So it's like whatever, but then
Which
like
is funny
eventually
the opposite was true.
Yeah, right.
Like those were the folks. I mean, I teach those folks, and like a lot of them had to work during the pandemic, and while working, they had to follow all the guidelines and be tested regularly. It was white folks who could work from home that weren't taking the precautions.
Yeah, no, fair enough, but then like eventually he was like just making these like I think like the point was we got to the point where I said, okay, so when we do have a vaccine, if there's no government intervention in any form, there's no regulation, there's no giving it to people for free, right? The vaccine is just sold for whatever price the market will bear, right? Do you think that exactly as many people will have it and like exactly as few people will die? And he said, yes, he did. And then I couldn't help myself. I just started laughing. I mean, I'd been very like polite up until that point, but like I just started laughing because it was such a bizarre thing for him to say. And then he called me a smug cunt and ended the call. So that was my debate with Gavin McInnes.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. So the one thing unrelated to the Steven Crowders and Gavin McInnes is the world I did want both of you to weigh in on before we go today was about the election news from today, because it's well, let's put it this way. What I got out of it is that New York City 0, Buffalo 1. That both of these places just had primaries, but like they're both places where the primary is the election.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican is not going to magically like come out and win either of these things. The Democratic primary is the election, and in New York City, the result of that looks like Adams, who is
colorful.
Yeah.
Colorful character.
I think Kenzo, you nailed it on Twitter. I mean, he's just New York Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the model, and it's going to be rough. The one organization that really I think needs to get some fire under its ass is the United Federation of Teachers, because I mean they didn't support Adams, they supported another candidate, or they didn't support Yang either, but Lori Lightfoot immediately wanted to take over as boss, and she weaponized his identity So anytime you question her, she'll use that in the media to make people look, racist, sexist, homophobic. And our local media doesn't buy it anymore. And she has gotten into some really personal fights with some very well-respected local political journalists like Marianne Ahern, Carol Marine. And then she'll go to like the national media, though, will just lob her softballs because the DNC likes her. And Adams is going to be like her on steroids.
Yeah, whereas Buffalo just became the first major city to elect a self-described socialist as mayor since like Milwaukee in 1960, I think is when that guy stepped down. Like to put this in perspective, like when Bernie was mayor of Burlington, I think the population of Burlington was 40,000 people. So.
I do want to say I feel a little hometown proud. I'm from Syracuse, New York, which is not Buffalo, but it's up there with the rest, Utica, Albany, Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, that whole stripe. And the right wing and the super right wing Sinclair media has been doing a hell of a job convincing people against their own, best interest. The newscasters I watched growing up, who are still the newscasters on now, are now parroting Sinclair's talking points. It's really sick. And so it's a big deal that Buffalo is reflecting that there is free thinking still left in that area. And Syracuse used to be, it had a huge like liberal and activist and radical contingent, especially in the Catholic Church. It played a part, I believe, in the Underground Railroad. There was a lot going on in Syracuse for radicals and leftists, in the early part of this century. So I think I felt like a super victory. And down in New York City, I feel like it'll be a refreshing change from Bill de Blasio. It's just... It's not great, but, not great in an entertaining way, as opposed to not great and just like, there's no redeeming quality here that makes this interesting in any way.
Was Buffalo ever like a Dem machine party town?
I don't know. I can't answer.
I'm curious because I'm just like, one of the things that is happening in Chicago is that when the second Daily came to power, he had this way of melding the old machine with the kind of neoliberal machine that he was built, like the more pinstripe patronage. He was able to like kind of marry that with old school patronage because some of the wards still were run by these machines. And then when Rahm took over, it became like total neoliberal. And then what happened there is because like in so many of these wards that they used to at least be able to bring home the bacon for their constituents, they couldn't anymore because the money was not even necessarily coming from Chicago to run their campaigns. And it became an opening. And that's why we have now 10% of Chicago City Council is in the DSA and they're in a caucus together because of it. And, we're hoping to expand that coalition because of that. So that's something I'm always like kind of looking for is like places where machines are crumbling.
Yeah, and I think if you look at Walton, I was actually I had a really weird, shouldn't say really weird. I was on earlier today. I was on the like Salt Lake City. It's just their like news, traffic, weather, radio station, and like I think the producer of this show, like I think that like what it gets down to is that it's Salt Lake City. I was the only socialist whose email address they had, and they wanted somebody to come on to talk about the Walton victory in Buffalo, and I was happy to do it. But it was like very like it's Utah, right? It was very like Ben, is it socialism scary and authoritarian? And what about the Soviet Union? It was a little bit. There's a little bit of that. But if you look at the but I mean, I think if you look at the platform, there's she was interviewed in Jacobin last month, and even the New York Times article, about the victory was pretty good. I think that I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I mean, like she's talking about, like affordable housing, trying to do more to like help tenants, who are facing eviction, sanctuary city, doing, like actually not just sort of, generic, defunding, which at its worst can just mean like, austerity, right? It's just, it's budget cuts and that's it. But like doing like, trying to come up with alternatives so that like the first call when a mentally ill person, is like, urinating in an inappropriate place or something isn't armed cops, who might kill them. And she was also talking about like co-ops and trying to, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what she has in mind, but I think there are things you could do on the local level, tax incentives, et cetera, to make it, to make it easier for, for people to form worker co-ops. And that's something she actually brought up a couple times. So, I mean, I think, look, it's, the mayor of Buffalo is not empowered to like smash the state and nationalize, the means of production. But like, but I think relative to what you can do as mayor of Buffalo, this sounds pretty good to me.
And I
just think go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I was just really appreciated in her speech how she said this isn't about me, and then like you're saying, Ben, really led with policy and like substance, which is like so refreshing. And even some of our best politicians with great politics, they will make it about themselves on victory night, and she didn't do that, so that made me feel very hopeful. Sorry, Juliana.
No, that's a beautiful sentiment, and I'm glad I heard that, and I forgot what I was going to say in the middle of listening to you, so that means I was truly present.
Well, failing that, our very talented graphic designer, J. Andrew World, whipped something up real quick after your comment earlier. So that is Sam Seder as the Velveteen Rabbit.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, hey, this has been a lot of fun. Anything, Juliana, you want to go first? Anything you want to plug before you go?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm interviewing Noam Chomsky. It should be up on ActTV's YouTube page on Friday, sometime on Friday. So go to YouTube and just Google, if you're not already following us on ActTV. It's a group of people. It's not just my page. So you will see the voices over there. And the Noam interview should be pretty good. We're going to be talking about his life in activism. He has a new book out called Chomsky for Activists, and it's a great book. You have to read it. It's amazing. So I'm looking forward to that.
To check that out.
Very nice. Yeah.
And, Sunday on my Twitch channel, Class Time, we're going to do Meet the Left. It's a weekly talk show we do. We have Pascal Robert from.
I love Pascal.
He always brings the fire. People love it when he's on. Eric Blanc, who wrote about the Red State Rebellion, and he's got another book coming out. And he's regular contributor to Jacobin. He'll be there, and then a possible surprise guest. So you got to tune in 6 p.m. at Class Time on Twitch.
Is it Steven Crowder?
We'll see.
Fair enough. You know what? I think I've spent a lot of time thinking about this because I love Pascal Robert as one of my all-time favorite guests, and I think, some of it's just personality. He's a very, very entertaining guy, but like also that I think he has. He's a really smart guy, and I think he has like a really good combination of having like. What are, from my perspective, the right politics. What he thinks is, pretty much what somebody like Adolph Reed or, somebody like that thinks, but just having a very different mode of presentation from most people who have those politics, because he's not like this sort of like, I say this with love, like sedate intellectual nerd, like a lot of people, who I admire who have the same views as him have, he's fiery about it. He's like appropriately angry, about the things that he's talking about, and it just makes it for him fun to talk to, and it makes him fun to watch. So, all right. Well, I really I really appreciate both of you for coming on, and especially on very short notice, because this is something that's like on Monday night, as I realized that since I've been busy with the show all day, I really missed something fun, and I wanted to do something about it. So really appreciate both of you. Check out Julianna's Chomsky interview tomorrow. Check out Kenzo's show on Sunday. Some of the things that we're about to mention, there might be time conflicts, but this is all YouTube, guys. You can watch all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, Ben. Thanks for having me on. I always enjoy it.
Thanks a lot, Ben and Julianna. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. I look forward to more chats.
Absolutely.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Take care, Julianna.
Bye.
Night.
So on this show, we are going to on Friday. Jen's going to be on, of course, for Philosophy Friday. Going to continue the philosophy of religion discussion. Do part 2 of that. On Sunday, we're going to have Matt McManus and Conrad Hamilton on. Going to do a breakdown of Zizek versus Hanan for the debate breakdown, an actual debate, not just like this. And then on Monday for the regular show, we are going to have Jason Miles, who of course is Pascal Robert's co-host on This Is Revolution, and we're going to have Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks and Weekends show on Jacobin. And that is all going to be really good stuff. I am really looking forward to all those things. Really appreciate you guys watching. Left is best.